Let's see. Ongoing updates about call sign KD0CGF, his vehicle. Let's see. Do a light bar installation, antenna installation. He's got some Wheeling equipment in his trunk. Let's see if I can find that. So he's just getting into electrical installations, and he was just giving some updates. We talked about obviously the legality of light bar usages, and basically you can legally purchase it here in Colorado, but certainly it's pretty much you can't use it publicly on public roads. So he'd been going through light bars since he was in his late teens, early 20s. So it's always been just keeping up with the technology and knowledge. I finally purchased a Meshtastic device, the Heltec V3. Got that set up, and not underwhelming, but kind of what I thought it was going to be. It's just messaging, and works quite well, though, amazingly. If you've never used Meshtastic, coverage is pretty huge. I know it doesn't actually show up on Mesh Map, but I can see pretty much all of these nodes just through a really tiny antenna and device. So, not sure if anyone's played around with that. See something in the chat here. George asks, need to find people who use software for Nano VNA and Nano VNA Saver. We were actually, I brought that up on the last Learning Net as well. Nano VNA-app is a pretty great piece of software. I don't have my VNA plugged in at the moment. Let me see if I can bring up the.
Here's mine.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Yep. Okay. Is that one of the larger versions, the 4-inch or something, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the H4.
Okay. Yep. Yep. We were talking about how. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was just using it yesterday to rebuild my 20 to 60 meter end-fed half wave.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Wow. Worked pretty well.
Well, I got as far as 40 meters. It's because I use links in the backyard, so it goes over my house from the tree in the front yard up to a small tower down to my backyard, and I have links for the different bands, and then I have a matching unun at the front of the yard that has various taps on it with a toroid, and so to change anything, I have to go front yard and backyard, lower it down, bring it up.
What a mess. That sucks. Yeah.
But Doron, if this is my first time joining you guys on here, right?
Yeah,
but
welcome.
What I cannot believe is that every video on YouTube says just build a 49-to-1 transformer and every band will come in all the way up to the 10 gigahertz. I'm kidding, but and with my setup, it's just a piece of wire, and I have to use if it's a half wave, a single half wave, it's 81-to-1 is the best match, and if it's like a 20 meter where I'm using it's a full wave, it has to be 25-to-1. And I don't understand and I've watched dozens of videos on making these things. Everything's 49-to-1 and you'll be set.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and I have not really gotten into antenna building myself. That's still a little bit above my pay grade, but it seems like there's always some magical thing that you can do, or people suggest, but that's certainly probably not the case, I'm guessing.
Also, you asked at the very beginning, people, what are people doing project-wise?
Yeah.
I'm in the process of building a receiver and transmitter separate for the 352 terahertz range.
Wow.
Which is near infrared.
Jeez. Is that what is that for?
Well, I'm going to be doing Q65 modulated near infrared LEDs. And initially it's going to be a vertical beacon. and I want to bounce off of clouds. That's the whole thing. Last year I did meteor scatter for the first time ever, and I got a kick out of that. And then I found out this guy in Tasmania has the world record for light beam communication through 179 miles in Tasmania, and he bounced off the bottom of a cloud to get over a mountain range. So I'm thinking
wow.
that is too flippin' cool. So I'm in the
Yeah.
process of experimenting with that.
That is certainly not a frequency or a band I'd ever think of using. Wow, so that's for cloud bouncing. Okay, very cool. Yeah, well, good luck on that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's meteor scatter, and I think people have used planes. They bounce signals off planes as well. So yeah, it's
Right.
all sorts of craziness. Yeah, wow. Well, very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Yeah, anything else you got working on, or anyone else? Yeah, feel free to chime in here.
Well, until somebody does, I got one more thing, Doran. How do you
Please, yeah.
pronounce your name?
Daron, Daron.
Oh, okay.
Not a problem.
Well, nice to meet you. Um, in order to understand, the clouds that I'm going to, I live in Golden, and North Table Mountain is 2,000 feet from me, right? So it's
Okay.
blocking my view to the east. Well, my daughter lives in Arvada, 6 miles away. So my goal is to bounce that light from my house in Golden up to the bottom of a cloud over Table Mountain and down to her house. Well, that causes me to want to learn more about meteorology, understanding this type of cloud versus that cloud, and how it performs for forward scatter with the particles of raindrops and everything. And so I have built an all sky camera, which is now anybody can see it. It's taking pictures 24 hours a day, creates time lapse and everything. And a couple nights ago, I caught a geosynchronous flare. So it's a geosynchronous satellite up, above the equator, with my fisheye lens, and it just came in real faint and flashed a couple times. And I found the All Sky group says, yeah, that was a geosynchronous satellite that the setting sun and the solar panels were just at the right angle, that I was getting a reflection down here in Golden.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it all ties in. It's camera,
Yeah.
but it ties in because I'm going to use it for ham radio.
That's
Other
the
than
all
that,
sky
I've been
camera.
really bored. I don't know what to do with my time.
No, gotcha. Retirement age, I'm guessing.
Is this one any better?
Yes, George, much better. Yeah.
Okay, it's a different computer. So anyway,
Okay.
you saw my thing. Anybody, any way to find out
Take the earphones off.
who that is? Anybody to find out who uses that software. I and others really want to know.
I'm guessing there might be a couple people in our club. I know that they have a groups.io, I'm guessing, which has been around for quite some time. Let me see if I can bring that up. That might be a good resource if you're able to utilize that.
I want somebody in the local area I'm trying to find.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
can use that, but I know there must be people here.
Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly put something out on our nets. I don't know anyone off the top of my head, but we can certainly try to get you in touch with someone. If you have any questions, maybe Jake can answer them if you have times now.
Well, I have used it, the Nano VNA, but I have not. I've installed and I have not yet used the software, and I'm looking forward to it because right now, to capture anything, if I want an image, I actually use my camera, my phone on my camera to take the picture of the screen. So I need to learn how to use that software myself.
Gotcha. I'd imagine. Let's see here. I will walk through it on screen here. Too many windows, Jake. Yeah, I'm running dual screens and too many things. It's funny how all that works. Okay. So Nano VNA QT. I just did a Google search for it, and it brings me to what's called GitHub, which is a place where people store their software. And it looks like there is a link here for download. Looks like this may be an older piece of software, but
You know, I can't help but believe that YouTube also would have a bunch of instruction videos on it.
that's a good point as well. Absolutely.
Problem is, I need somebody who knows how to get the stuff from GitHub to work. I just can't get the software at GitHub to work, so I need somebody who's already actually done it and uses it to help me do that.
Let me see if I can go grab mine. Half the battle with these are the drivers. If you don't have the driver installed, that is one reason it won't work. So I have my Nano VNA. I'm just about to plug it in. I don't have any antennas or anything. Oh, I have the loads and open on it. I already have a driver installed for another piece of software. Some live troubleshooting here. It's always fun. So I plugged it in. I already have a driver installed. I just may need to run this. And you have to let Windows do that. Okay. Yeah, this may be an older piece of software, so it may be a little bit more difficult to run. Let's see. So when you do have the driver successfully installed, you should see, I think, something similar to one of these, COM3 or COM4. And hopefully it's just a matter of, let me see which one it was. Well, it did freeze. That's always a good sign. But it's good. This is the time to do this. So, let's see if I can fix this though.
Out of the snow.
So at GitHub, you were just able to click on the .exe and it came up for you?
I had to, so it downloaded a zip file, and then I had to extract the contents of the zip file. I had to actually, if you take the zip file, right-click on it, and select Extract All, that's what I had to actually do to get it to work. The first time I tried it without doing that, it actually didn't work. So that was one step I had to do.
Now I can get what I see on your screen right now, but then it's from there on, it just doesn't seem to want to work.
It is freezing from, let me just try the other software that I was using just to make sure that it's still working. Or maybe that's actually why it's not working. So this other one is working, nanovna-app, and it's very similar, both in how it's used, and you can probably get it from GitHub as well. Let me just stop this one and close it, though, and see if that was interfering with it.
Shot from the.
Yeah, tell me where you can find that, and I'll try that.
Yeah, I'm just stubborn. I'm not getting this one to work either myself. It's freezing up and giving issues, so it may just be... if you look at the GitHub, you can see that it was recently updated 5 years ago, the one that you were trying to use. So that's potentially why it's not working, is it is just out of date and is not working anymore. This other one, I think if you go to nanovna.com, under the left-hand side, there's the nanovna app, and there is a link on there to download that. Oops. And that one works quite well as well. And I think there is a GitHub with potentially a more recent version. I'm not sure if the one they have on here. Yeah, these, it takes a little bit of struggling to actually get the most up-to-date version and to get actually things working. So I can see why why you or anyone else would definitely struggle with it if you're not tech savvy or have enough patience. Yes, so if you do a Google search for nanovna app by Owen Duffy, I'll put a link into the chat. That has let me see if they have a direct link. With these, you have to, on the right-hand side, you click on releases, you click on the latest release, and then that has the actual file that you can download. So, Owen Duffy, nanovna app. And I just put a link into the chat. That one works quite well. So yeah, it's as mentioned, the working from the device itself is very much of a struggle because of how small they are. So once you do get it,
Wait. How do I get to the chat again? Across the bottom, I'm more used to using different software, and I don't see.
yeah,
No, which one of these icons?
if you see my screen now, it should be on the right-hand side, the second one from the left, second one from the right. It looks like a little piece of paper. If you highlight over it, it says chat. Welcome everyone here. Sorry, I just doing some live troubleshooting here. A couple people in the YouTube chat. Appreciate that, K0BF. I have not checked if I can see your node yet, or if the mesh map, if it's on there. Another person in there, Trash Panda, mentioned they might be able to help out if needed. Might be a compatibility issue with Windows, and yeah, nanovna Saver, as mentioned, was another good one to use. Why isn't this working now? Once you actually get it working, though, I mean, it's a whole new ball game. I mean, there's a whole lot more learning to actually do. This can measure quite a lot of whole lot of things. I was using it earlier to measure SWR for a HT. Let me see if I can plug that in again.
Okay, another quick question. How do I download everything in the Zoom? I know how to download the whole messages screen, but I don't. How do I do it in this software?
So hopefully at the bottom right of your screen, you should be seeing
Next.
You know, I have it up. I can see what's on chat. I just don't know how to save it.
Oh, I see. I'm not sure that you can actually do that here. You have to probably copy and paste it.
Okay, yeah, that's a trick I use quite a bit. I was hoping it would be easier. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't actually had anybody request that before. That's a good request, though. Looks like there's also, if you highlight over a message, you can forward it, maybe, to your mail, is what it looks like it's doing. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so, real quick, I guess, just a Bofang, 2 meter, 70 centimeter, antenna. Just a quick demo here. I believe you plug into the S11 port, which is on the top left, also labeled, I think, S21. S11 and channel 0. Sorry about that. So I have just a 2 meter, 70 centimeter antenna plugged in. Measuring SWR. I guess I'm saying 1.1 to 1.17 on the 2 meter band here. You can do things like Smith charts, but again, way over my head, so I really am not sure even how to read a Smith chart myself. So, but yeah, this makes it a lot easier to capture information. You can save it out, forms, graphs, CSV files. You can measure impedance, all sorts of stuff. So still don't know how to use much of it myself, but it's just a quick demo of it. So if anybody has any other questions on that, or if anybody has anything else, go right ahead, please. Let's just give them some info. But yeah, the drivers are the piece that maybe some people do miss. So if you I forget how I actually did it. I think I just Googled it, and there was a driver download somewhere. Yeah, not very helpful on that. Let's see, it's 6:30. Appreciate everyone being here. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet last few months on the Elmer session here, so we can't thank enough. Probably, hopefully, didn't hurt that we sent out an email last night, so thanks everyone for showing up. As mentioned, there's, I think, no live presentation. In the email that was sent out, there were some suggestions of some videos we could play. Just some suggestions if anybody has something in their YouTube chat they've seen. Some of these are not that new anyway.
By the way, about an hour ago, I started watching a Jerry Ellsworth video. She is quite a character.
She's lovely, yeah.
And she goes back into the whole history as a kid and got a Commodore 64, and then she made her own BBS system, and just very interesting lady.
Yes, if anybody isn't in the know, Jerry Ellsworth AI6TK, been around quite some time. And electrical engineering, she's worked for Steam. She's done a whole lot of stuff. And And yeah, she's been around the ham radio realm for quite some time. So yeah, that was one of the videos here is a keynote from Pacificon from 2018. So even if we don't pick that, just definitely go check that out because yeah, she has a lot of great information and really definitely understands how ham radio kind of ties a whole lot of things together. So it's so nice to see. Yeah.
If I ever do get to meet her, I have a big question for her though. She started producing a series on how to build an 80-meter magnetic loop antenna, and I was building one myself at the time. And then she did episode 1, and nothing ever after that. Years later, and I'd be curious. You know, I thought maybe she disappeared off the face of the earth, but I could find her in other places. So I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm sure just life got in the way of things. But yeah, she had quite a prominent YouTube channel way back in the day, 15 plus years ago, when kind of YouTube was starting to come around. So, and then yes, kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately. But yeah, always great resource. And yeah, last one was from 2 years ago. So it's, but yeah, I'm sure she's just working though. Very cool stuff. Let's see. Yeah, anyone else? Comments, questions? This is a great place to about ham radio, STEM topics, just a general Q&A. We're kind of just briefly talking about things there. Looking through the last learning nets. Yeah, looking at VNAs. Someone was using it for measuring toroids, I think home built. So... yeah. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name's Greg Allen. I'm a brand new ham. I just got my technician about 3 weeks ago, I guess. Kind of got started because I wanted to use GMRS for some off-roading communication. Bought a couple of cheap Chinese radios, and as I was, watching videos and things like that, saw more and more about ham radio. And so 3 weeks ago, I guess I took my technician's test and got my license. So currently only have a TD H3 Plus. But I did go to Ham Radio Outlet and got a good antenna that I've now got wired through with some coax out on the deck, sitting on a tripod that I've got just sitting on the deck. And, the antenna I have found makes an absolute huge difference at 2 meters and 70 centimeters, which is all I've really done with that cheap Chinese radio. Joined in here just because I really don't know, as you're watching videos about people saying, what's your first radio to get. I am planning on studying and taking general, so I have more access to more bands, especially HF, because that seems to be where the most excitement is. But as you're watching videos, everybody's saying, well, get a radio that's going to match your interests best. And I really don't know what my interests are at this point. So that's why I'm joining in and hoping to talk to some people and just learn and see what others are doing. So this has been very interesting so far.
Excellent.
What's your call?
Your call sign, Greg?
It is WK0WFX.
Is that the GMRS or is that the ham radio?
That's the ham. No, that's
Okay.
the GMRX.
Yeah, it sounded kind of odd.
Yeah, let me find my ham. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm such a newbie. I am not keeping great track of that at this point because I've mainly just been listening in. But I'll find it here in a second. So you guys go on ahead.
Sounds good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, congrats. And yeah, it's awesome to hear. And yeah, GMRS is definitely a great introduction. And once people realize the the, 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 the benefits of ham. There's a whole lot more you can do. So let's see if ULS will show me here. You can always look up. ULS is always a slow website. Yep. Any antenna is better than the built-in antenna, especially operating indoors or even from a vehicle. So yeah, good start on that. Yeah, getting any antenna, and certainly with any height certainly helps as well. And it's very forgiving, VHF, UHF, so even medium or low output from the radio, you'll still be able to hit probably most of our repeaters. So it's very cool.
Well, Greg,
All
you've
right.
probably heard it from other people, but congratulations on getting your license, and I hope you do progress to the next level. As you know, it will open up many other. There is so much you can do with a tech license, though. Right now, you can bounce your signal off the moon, for goodness sake. You know, it's with a tech license. But getting that HF privilege with the radio, that'll do it, whether digital or voice, really opens up just another world to you too.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
In fact, Greg, if you want to join the really cool kids, you get yourself a 32-inch balloon, a Mylar balloon, fill it with hydrogen, put a whisper transmitter on it with a 34-foot antenna, let it go, and it goes around the world. 2 of my 8 balloons went 6 times around the planet over war-torn zones and the oceans and everything else, and they reported back. They were in the stratosphere for months at a time, and it's just amazing. And you can watch, because it's Whisper. I don't know if you're familiar with Whisper or not, but you can watch it right on your home computer where that balloon is, and you can see how fast it's going and everything. So it's just a kick.
This was our attempt at field day at that. And yeah, cheap Mylar balloon, pretty cheap equipment.
I think you're muted.
Oh, yeah. This was our attempt last year, or our field day last year. Didn't get too far, though, unfortunately. I think you can still track it, w0tx.org/track. We'll go to Traquito. Let's see if it's still on there.
In fact, that's me with the blue hat in the picture there.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Yeah, that is. Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, watching Pete the year before last, that was my first time seeing a Pico balloon launch. And like I say, since then I've launched quite a few of myself.
Excellent. Yeah, and it sounds like you've been pretty successful as well, so that's good. Yeah, we could probably use your help next year then. Yeah, made it just as far as around the Lyman area and then dropped down, and I don't think we ever recovered it. So, yeah. Well, we'll attempt again next year, or this year, I guess. How time flies, I can't believe it's just going to be a few more months here. And then field day, and then it's going to be a few more months, and then it's going to be December. And time makes a fool out of us all, or me at least. So, all right, well, it's 6:40. Yeah, I think I found your call sign potentially, Greg. Is it maybe KF0WFX?
Yep, that's it. I found it
Excellent.
also about the same time you did.
Very cool, very cool.
I think I've only made one contact during a net. Haven't really, I've just actually been looking into logging software and kind of interested to see what everybody uses. Maybe everybody's using something a little bit different.
I run the nets, or some of our nets. So, and we have a tool that you can make a copy of. It is helpful as a net control operator. There's probably other options as just an individual. There's probably some logging software that ties in with cat control for digital contacts, but with this tool we have, you could just type in a call sign, and hopefully you can get something similar like this. and it just automatically logs an entry, and so that makes it a whole lot easier to at least log VHF, UHF contacts. But if you're doing HF radio or digital, hopefully you'll be able to do it automatically through some logging software, WSJTX, or I forget what others. I don't do much operations outside of net controls or outside of running nets, though, so I really don't have much experience apart from that. I used to do FT8 digital modes, and like I mentioned, that kind of just automatically updates. You can tie into Logbook of the World, I think Ham QSL. So that's, at least for digital contacts, what you'd probably want to do. Anyone else on that? All right. No? Yeah.
Uncomfortable silence.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. That's all right. It's a tough crowd. That's okay. It's in past months there have been 1 or 0 people here, so I appreciate everyone being here. So at all. So, mesh work we were talking about earlier. I had purchased a Meshtastic node, and it's just I wouldn't say underwhelming, but
Well, I'll tell you what, about a year and a half ago, I got into Meshtastic myself, and I actually put up a node up on Lookout Mountain for a while and had it set up as a repeater, and I could reach people, Broomfield. In fact, the furthest I ever received, because I live down in the valley in Golden, north end of Golden, and I go up from there to my repeater on Lookout Mountain, and then from there one night, and it was a rainy night at 900 megahertz, right? And I actually received Laramie or Cheyenne, Laramie, Wyoming, a node from Laramie, 100 miles away, which is pretty cool. But the problem I saw with Meshtastic is I talked the guys in the Vienna Wireless Society back in Virginia into trying this, and now they've got nodes all over. But see, they've got a individual ham radio club, and the guys doing it, right? So they all know who each other is, and they all know they're looking for each other. But if you're a guy in isolated Golden, Colorado, I mean, I'm isolated from the rest of the Denver metro area because of Table Mountains, right? I would, put out a message and, say, hey, hello, I'm here, and somebody might come back once or twice a week, but, you have to have somebody who actually is willing to say hi and not just, check their map every once in a while. So it was very isolating, I thought. But when it worked, and now I will say that the Denver Meshtastic group, the club, has I think it's a permanent repeater up on Lookout Mountain. So that should get people, 80, 100 miles away.
Okay, yeah, I'm guessing that's the Denver Mesh group. Yeah, denvermesh.org. Yeah, wow, okay.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's so far just checking map really on my end. There is looking at long, fast. People are mostly just testing, checking in. There was a pretty good message the other day of fire weather alert. So people thought that was pretty good usage of it, of sending out a fire watch on the 15th. So pretty good usage of it there. And I don't have a large antenna plugged into mine, so I'm getting pretty far out there though. It looks like Fort Collins though, so South Denver area.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah. Anyone else? 15 or so minutes here. We've got plenty of time here still. What else here? Good place Q&A about ham radio STEM topics. Share some things. See if it jogs anything here.
All right. I will tell you, if you ask people, who've been around doing this for a while, what's your favorite operation? What's your favorite way to play ham radio, right? And mine is absolutely, I have an 8-foot rowboat, and I go out to Prospect Lake out in Wheat Ridge, and I'm out in the water until, way past dark 30. And I have talked on 20 meters, on 17 meters. I've talked many times to Japan and to Argentina and I got Europe. I got a guy from Italy one time, and that's QRP, because that's the other thing, is I'm a avid QRPer. So it's 5 watts and a Yaesu FT817 with a Cabela's, or not a Cabela's, a MFJ 33-foot push-up pole, and a wire, end-fed wire antenna for 20 meters. And I could literally work the world. This was about 12 years ago, but yeah, I was working all over the world with a wire antenna. But if you saw the picture, it's a little 8-foot rowboat and a 33-foot, mast up on the front where a sailboat, a sail mast is supposed to go.
Right.
In fact, if you look me up on QRZ, there's a picture of me out in the water. But my claim to fame, I hope everybody's sitting down, because if they start laughing too hard, they might fall. I claim the world's record for the highest ham radio operation in a boat, marine mobile. And that was up on that reservoir up near the summit of Mount Evans about 20 years ago. And I worked the world. Well, I worked across the country anyway on QRP. And then I let the magazine know about it, QST magazine. Yeah, that's it. That's at 13,800 feet on ham radio on a boat. But I got about a couple months later, a few months later, I got an envelope from England, and it was Radcom magazine. They had put me on the cover. So
Wow.
it wasn't the Rolling Stone, but
No, that's cool. That's hilarious. Wow. That's really cool stuff there.
And then I think it says in there, but 2 of my friends, ham radio friends, were with me. And they helped me carry it down from the road, because it's really rocky. And so these people would stop by and they'd say, "What's that guy doing out there? What's he fishing for?" And one of my friends says, "Oh, marlin."
Yeah, I'm sure there's more on it up there. Exactly. That's good stuff. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, QRP operations from a boat. That's definitely hasn't heard that, and yeah, highest above sea level. That's a great achievement. That's hilarious. Wow.
So-
Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, this is a little bit of an adjacent question, but is changing the topic. Has anybody done parks on the air or summits on the air activations?
Yeah, I did summits on the air before it was a thing. I was, again, at the very top of Mount Evans about 2003, 2004. And I didn't know about summits on the air at the time, but yeah, I worked from 14,000 feet up there. Parks on the air, as you probably know, is still a very popular thing. And I've done all portable work from all kinds of places, but never under the auspices of POTA. And I think that would be a hoot, because you get practice on the radio, and you would get the enjoyment of being outside, setting up it's like field day every time you go on a POTA adventure. It's like field day every time,
Yeah, it does seem very interesting.
Yeah, I've not myself gotten into either of those, unfortunately, yet. But yeah, there's quite a few people in our club I know participate in that, and definitely a lot of opportunities here in Colorado. That's for sure. Very neat. Yeah. Anyone else? See who else has joined here. Yeah. Anyone else on here? Maybe Art or anyone else? Comments, questions, or anything? Or any suggestions for the presentation? I put out a survey. I think we only had one response though. So, but any suggestions, let me know. All right, what else here?
Well, is the meeting at 7:00? Is that going to be on this same channel, or do we have to log out and go somewhere else? Or
Right here. Yep, you don't have to go anywhere else. Yep, it'll be right here.
okay.
Let's see what else. QST magazine. You can also look at the March if you have access to QST. They put out the digital version next month, a little bit early. Let's see what they have here. Let's check in with Dave Minster, the ARL CEO. What's he saying here? Rolling out welcome map. Persistent concern we hear from New Hams is that they attended a local radio club meeting and felt like an outsider. No one had spoken to them. No one made an effort to let them introduce themselves. North Florida Section Manager Scott Roberts, KK4ECR, recently sent them a well-composed report of issues and ideas from town hall meetings he conducted, and there it was again, clubs that are perceived as closed communities, talking to ourselves and newcomers, especially women, youth, feeling unwelcome. How do we solve this? A few paragraphs on this, but he says, first of all, every club should look at how its meetings are conducted, starting each meeting with an hour business meeting is probably not the best way to inspire a new member. Consider how meetings could be more focused on the amateur radio activities through the club is undertaking and sharing knowledge through virtual speakers, recorded session, ARL. What opportunities the club offer for new visitors to make themselves known and get involved. Starting off with an open mic for visitors, obvious first step. Supplemented by recruitment. Sure that not only does the visitor have the opportunity to get involved, but there is a specific club member assigned. Get involved with club activities. This being ARL year of the club, now is a great time for our clubs to take a focused, intentional look at how we welcome new and inexperienced hams throughout the year. He encourages us to look for inspiring and informational content from QST magazines. Another tactic used successfully by clubs is for VEs to conduct an exam session an hour before club meeting starts. Chuck new hams and hams upgrading. A large percentage of newcomers to amateur radio join because they want to get involved in emergency communications. What does your club do in terms of engaging training members for emergency communications? Your club may have its own successful methods for attracting and involving new hams and engaging visitors. He encourages club to be radio active, make sure there are great activities for newcomers. Be a connector, get newcomers and visitors connected to club members who can help them. And if they're going to Dayton Hamvention, come and see him. So that's just a brief overview from Dave Minster, CEO, what they call the second century. Just a update from ARL.
You know,
What else? Yeah, please. Sorry.
well, I've got a thought on ham clubs, and I've joined in decades past. I've joined different local groups and whatever, and or when I go to Hamfest, often it's the same thing where you get the old geezers. Now, believe it or not, I know I act like I'm 40 or maybe 14, right? But I'll be 73 next month, right? And when I started on this, I was in my 30s, 40s, whatever, and the old guys, the old guys were in their 50s and 60s, and the problem that I saw, this is just from a new guy perspective back then, is that, oh yeah, the guys that have all the wallpaper, I won this contest, I've worked, all these countries, and it's like, I've been there and I've done that, and they would act like they're actually bored with the hobby, and that's a shame. Here I am, 73, and I'm sending invisible light beams over Table Mountain to reach my daughter, and I'm experimenting with this and that, learning every digital mode I can, and out in my boat, and so it seems like there has to be enthusiasm. Whatever little niche that you're interested in, maybe that'll spark an interest with the newcomer,
Yeah, if you're passionate about it, you can certainly pass on that passion. Absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, it's unfortunate people sometimes have lost their passion for this hobby and for certain things, but there's always lots of niches out there for it. So yeah, that's awesome to hear. Wow.
I've got a good friend who just upgraded to general recently, but the reason he got his license a couple decades ago, he flies high power rocketry, the kind that goes 30, 40,000 plus feet. And all the telemetry that they sell is using ham radio frequencies. And so he said, I've got to get my license just so I can, fly my rockets. So I bet there's as many reasons why people got into the hobby. You mentioned, MCOMs, which I'm sure is very interesting to young people in their teens and 20s and 30s. You know, I want to get out there and, you know, be on the scene with wildfires or, you know, disasters or whatever. And that's a great reason to get in. But there's so many reasons, I think. You know, a guy does a lot of camping way out in the middle of nowhere, and they found in years past that their cell phone just doesn't reach the towers. Right. Well, if I had a a walkie-talkie and I could get to a repeater and I could, you know, call for help or just reach out to the world from 100 miles from nowhere, you know?
Exactly. Just the basics things of that. If you're out camping and you don't have access to cell phone coverage, yeah, it certainly wouldn't hurt having that as a minimum. Yeah. Yeah. Well, excellent. Thanks, Jake. I really appreciate all your input today here, and yeah, thanks for being an Elmer for us today here.
You're welcome.
Yep. Very cool. Welcome, Orland. Welcome everyone else who's joined here. 12 people here so far. We'll have the meeting starting here in just a bit. We were just kind of talking about basics of ham radio, what got us interested in it, what we've been working on here recently, and yeah, some basic things. So can't thank enough everyone for joining us here so far. W0tx.org for more information on our club. Again, presentations that we have lined up. I don't think we have a live presenter this evening. But we do have some options on here. These are 20 to 30 minutes or so. Last Elephant Cage I previewed last month. FLIR antenna in Anchorage, Alaska. Radio direction finding. Journey to the center of PSTN. Pretty interesting talk here about public switched telephone network given at DEF CON conference. AMSAT Oscar, history of the AMSAT Oscar satellite. Building an open source cellular network at Burning Man. This is from 2014. It's kind of a weird aspect ratio. It's quite old, but they kind of talk about how they use software-defined radio since 2006 to build a cell network there. Behind the scenes, WWVH, our, I don't know if we call it sister station, but weather station in Hawaii. So a tour of that. HP Origins, just an interesting documentary about Dave Packard, Bill Hewlett, formation of their company. Pretty interesting talk here. Well, one I missed. Jerry Ellsworth, we were talking about earlier, AI6TK. If we don't watch it, I'd highly suggest go watching that. She has an incredible background and gave a good talk at Pacificon in 2018 about her childhood with hands-on electronics, mentoring, ham radio, things like that. Always great talk to see. DRM, Polish rate trains. Turns out certain trains were being broken by the manufacturer using software, and there were some hackers that kind of figured this out and figured out how to fix it. There was an update on that. A few more here. Very low frequency time and frequency transfer signal analysis. This is probably the really heady one from the European GNU radio days. I think it's in English. I think, yep. Last few here. Geostationary satellites. Well, not geostationary, but public information that's been available that has been seen via satellites. Not really explaining that well. Navigation of the Baltic Sea. Second to last one here. Who cares about the Baltic terrestrial navigation of the Baltic Sea regions? GNSS interference have become almost routine. Airplanes losing GPS, ships drifting off course. Talk on that. And lastly, how to minimize bugs in cryptography code. So probably another heady talk here. So anyone on any of those or anything else, these are all pre-recorded. We can play any one of these or anything else if someone has something that's come up on their YouTube feed or they've seen recently. Please let me know.
Well, I can relate to the jamming, the radio jamming. My balloons I mentioned earlier, my Pico balloons, 7 times were shot down over Russia, the Crimea area and over Israel. And by shot down, I mean that they're sending up false GPS coordinates to people, and that's so the missiles and the jet fighters don't know where they're at. And it would show all of a sudden my balloon went from 45,000 feet to it was on the ground. I thought, oh no, it came down. Hour later, it was right back up in the stratosphere again. So that jamming I can appreciate. And also the satellites, anything with the satellites. I've listened a couple of times, but I've never actually used a satellite for communication. So I'd be open for any of those.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else on any of that? Suggestions or? Let's see here. Well, I guess we'll go with that. I certainly have an interest in that, and yeah, that's certainly a relevant topic with current world events and jamming GPS. So we can go with that. So yeah, unless anybody has other suggestions, let me just scroll through these, make sure there's not much cursing. Hopefully, none at all. These are given. This one was at the CCC, which is the Computer Chaos Conference, which is held in Germany once a year, I believe. I think that's what it stands for. While I bring this up, I guess I'll throw it over to, let's see, any of our club officers. I'm one of them, if I can bring up. Or it looks like Orlin, do you have anything, or?
No, nothing earth-shattering, but one thing I did want to mention to people is that there's a possibility in the next week or so that we might be switching a couple of the repeaters off for a period of time to upgrade some software and the controllers or in the repeaters themselves. We're also going to put the new 3.3 repeater online. I'm going to shut these guys off.